Welcome to William Stops TV. I am Emily, your presenter on this occasion, and we bring you a selection of the 10 best horror movies. If you are a fan of the genre, you are in the right place as we have selected the most acclaimed and creepy movies that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Get ready for a terrifying and unforgettable experience. Let's get started. Number 10. The Invitation, 2015. Will and Eden were a happy couple until they tragically lost their son years ago. After this event, Eden disappears overnight without a trace. But one day, she returns to the city, has remarried, and seems to have changed. On a dark night, she and her new husband invite Will to dinner. However, something disturbing and unrecognizable has taken over her, and it seems to have sinister plans for her guests. The Invitation is a film directed by Karen Kusama that explores how pain can become excruciating. Logan Marshall Green and Tammy Blanchard's performance in the film is impressive. One of the elements that makes The Invitation such a great movie is its ability to escape any particular genre label. This is relevant to Karen Kusama's proposal, since it is part of the discourse of her images. In addition, the film is completely different from the director's previous productions, such as Girl Fight, Aeon Flux, or Jennifer's Body, which increases its uniqueness. The movie also knows how to handle tension and suspense. It has an excellent setting and performances, and the handling of the camera and sounds is great. Although the third part of the film may seem predictable, it doesn't take away from the good stuff, and the ending is excellent without the need for a plot twist. I love that the movie manages to be oppressive and suffocating at times, while at other times calming things down by showing more of the protagonist's pasts. Overall, The Invitation is a highly recommended movie. Number 9. Sinister, 2012. Clearly, Sinister differs from other horror movies in the way it presents the story and the elements it uses to create an atmosphere of suspense and fear. Despite the fact that the plot may initially seem like an ordinary one, with a writer who moves with his family to a house with a dark past to find inspiration for his new book, the film manages to surprise the viewer as that the story progresses. One of the aspects that stands out from Sinister is the originality of the plot, which, although it falls into some of the cliches of the genre, intelligently adopts them and uses them to create an interesting and surprising plot. In addition, the performances of the actors are quite good, especially that of Ethan Hawke, who manages to convey the anguish and fear that his character feels as he delves into the events that surround the house. Photography is also a notable element of the film, since it manages to create a disturbing atmosphere that contributes to generating fear in the viewer. The production design and setting are also very effective in creating a dark and disturbing environment that perfectly suits the plot. As for the scares, Sinister manages to keep the viewer tense throughout the film and surprise him with twists and details that keep him on edge until the end. The closing is especially shocking, with a revelation that is surprising and terrifying at the same time. In short, Sinister is a horror film that manages to keep the viewer immersed in it thanks to its original plot, good performances, and remarkable photography and setting. With well-crafted scares and a surprising ending, it is a film that will leave the viewer thinking for a long time after watching it. Number 8. The Babadook, 2014. The psychological horror film, The Babadook, written and directed by Jennifer Kent, tells the story of Amelia, a widowed mother who struggles to raise her son Samuel, a 6-year-old boy who lives in fear of the monsters that appear in his dreams and imagination. When Samuel finds an old book, Mr. Babadook, in the basement of his house, the evil creature from the book comes to life and begins to torment them. Unlike other horror movies, the fear in The Babadook stems from her mother, who is driven by both demonic possession and her growing imbalance and mental exhaustion, leading her to want to exterminate her own son. The film is considered one of the creepiest and most satisfying in horror cinema and has been praised for its chill-inducing and fear-inducing ability. In addition, through its plot, it addresses issues such as mother-child guilt and teaches family values in a direct way, although some critics argue that its approach tends more towards drama than horror. Number 7. Scream. The horror film Scream, directed by Wes Craven in 1996, is considered one of the best in the slasher genre. Despite having common cliches in this type of film, the script has surprising twists. Ghostface is a great villain and the cast is very well cast. He highlights the role of Neve Campbell, a stunningly beautiful actress, in the title role. Craven's work is sensational, the tense moments are very well handled, and the soundtrack is excellent, marking the most tense moments of the plot. The film follows the story of Sidney Prescott and his friends, who investigate a crime wave in their small town of Woodsboro. Unlike other films in the genre, Scream does not use repetitive situations, but rather was a refreshing approach to the subgenre at a time of drought. While the movie's sequels have had their ups and downs, the first installment is hands down the best. In addition to all of the above, Scream also stands out for its clever self-awareness and meta-narrative. The film uses the viewer's prior knowledge of the slasher genre to subvert expectations and surprise audiences with unexpected twists. The character of Randy Meeks, played by Jamie Kennedy, is a fan of horror films and becomes a kind of guide for the viewer, pointing out the cliches and rules that apply to this type of film. This not only makes the movie more interesting and fun, but also raises it to a higher level of storytelling quality. The film's cinematography is also impressive, with deft use of lighting and composition to create an atmosphere of mystery and terror. The opening scene, in which Drew Barrymore's character receives a call from the killer, is a perfect example of how tension can be built with proper lighting and clever staging. Number 6. The Conjuring, 2013. The Conjuring is a horror film that presents us with the first chapter of the Warren Files saga. The main characters are Mr. Warren, played by the talented actors Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. The film is based on true events, although adapted for the Hollywood show, thus captivating the public with its special charisma. The chemistry between the protagonists is totally realistic, and you can see that it flows naturally, which helps the viewer to immerse themselves in the story. The plot of The Conjuring centers on the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned investigators of paranormal phenomena, who are called by a family terrified by a dark presence on their isolated farm. The couple is forced to face a very powerful demonic entity, which will lead them to face the most terrifying case of their lives. Despite the fact that the film is based on true events, the writers managed to bring it to the screen in a spectacular way, keeping the audience in suspense throughout the plot. James Wan's direction is impressive, creating an atmosphere of tension and mystery that makes the viewer completely immersed in the story. Number 5. Let the Right One In. I found a gem while going through my DVDs, and I want to share my opinion about it. The movie Let the Right One In, 2008, is a sublime masterpiece and one of the best horror movies I've seen in years. Even though it is slow, the plot and details require the pacing of the film to be like that. This work by Tomas Alfredson is as much a love story between Oscar and Eli, two 12-year-old boys, as it is a tale of vampires. The original title, Let the Right One In, skillfully links both subplots, alluding both to the victim's necessary invitation for the vampire to break into his home and to the acceptance and recognition of true love. Alfredson manages to combine the difficulty of the protagonists in relating to the world with vampire mythology, putting the everyday and the fantastic on the same level. As they grow older, the characters also move closer to danger and crime, turning the final massacre into an act of love. The film appears to be simple, but it hides more than it shows, such as the subtle, latent homosexuality of more than one father figure. Let the Right One In features some exquisite sequences, such as a massive cat attack, an attack under a dark bridge, and the final scene in a heated swimming pool, in which the director demonstrates his ability to use space and space. Out of field, the parallel montage in the sequence of the school trip to the frozen lake is quite exemplary. Both events trigger the terrified screams of the infants in unison, and the professor does not know where to turn first. I can only say that Let the Right One In is surprising for its successful narrative hand, managing to terrify, dazzle, and move in large portions. It is one of my favorite movies in life, and a gem that I highly recommend. Before we continue, what is your favorite movie? Let me know in the comments, and if you want, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It would help us a lot. Number 4. Evil Dead, 2013. How about we talk about a remake done right? In my opinion, this is the best remake I've seen so far. and while it sounds like blasphemy, it far surpasses the original by completely forgetting the comedy factor and going for a creepier approach with more gore and better visuals. Although it respects the plot of the original movie, I don't think it's necessary to say what it is since everyone knows the Evil Dead saga, and if you don't know it, then get out of here. The current version has several plot twists that will blow your mind. It is much more violent and bloody than the original, which makes it an exceptional horror movie. The technical section is impressive and makes the movie even more terrifying. The makeup and CGI effects are spectacular, and the acting is formidable. The actors make you feel like you are the victim, which adds to the tension and excitement. This is the best remake and the best horror movie of recent times. The story follows a group of friends who accidentally awaken a demon in a cabin in the mountains. The movie is spooky, exciting, and has a number of unexpected twists that will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you like horror movies, you can't miss this updated version of The Evil Dead. But wait, as a fan of Evil Dead, don't forget that on April 21, 2023, Evil Dead Rise premieres. Number 3. The Omen, 1976. It is one of the great horror movie classics of the 70s, along with The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby. This film stands out for its energetic, fascinating, terrifying, and prodigious story, and for its focus on the horror genre and the supernatural. Director Richard Donner achieves a brilliant example of how to make a horror movie, with shocking sequences and awkward and admirable moments, thus leading to a bizarre denouement. The performances of Gregory Peck and Lee Remick are perfect, and both bring to this story a rampage of confusion due to not knowing what is happening, and leading to such well-handled plot twists. Outstandingly, Harvey Spencer Stevens steals the screen and the eyes through this terrifying role that undoubtedly conveys an uncomfortable feeling of revulsion, madness, and terror in the most inhospitable moments of the film. The plot revolves around the American diplomat Robert Thorne, Gregory Peck, who lies to her wife Catherine, Lee Remick, by presenting her as her son, a baby that he has adopted the same night that he has lost his own newborn. Neither suspects that the boy, named Damien, Harvey Stevens, is the Antichrist who will try to dominate the world under the cult of Satan. The film uses dark photography and gothic traces to enclose the world of evil in a figure far from the evil essence itself, a supposedly angelic and innocent child. Although it loses some of its good tact in the last section by running over various sensationalisms, with several shocking scenes such as a beheading and a beautifully filmed attack by baboons, the story ends with a finale full of intensity. In short, The Omen is a classic and terrifying movie that is still relevant today. Number 2. Drag Me to Hell, 2009. The film is excellent in terms of the combination of horror and comedy, since it has terrifying scenes and others that cause laughter. I recommend this film 100%, and it is evident that it takes inspiration from Evil Dead. However, it is not a mere copy, but is directed by the acclaimed Sam Raimi. Although I have noticed that the film has received negative reviews, particularly from critics, William Stops TV has given it their stamp of approval. The plot revolves around Christine Brown, an ambitious bank manager in Los Angeles, who dates the charming Professor Clay Dalton. Everything seems to be going well, until old Mrs. Ganesh arrives at the bank asking Christine to delay her monthly mortgage payments. Christine must decide whether to follow her instincts and help the old lady or refuse in order to fit in with her boss and get a promotion. Christine opts for the second option, which results in Mrs. Ganesh losing the house from her.
Never have I begged for anything, but now I humble myself before you. I beg you.
Please let go of the Security!
As revenge, the old woman puts a curse on Christine, turning her life into hell. Haunted by an evil spirit and with the disbelief of her boyfriend, Christine seeks help from the seer Ram Dass to save her soul from eternal damnation. With the seer's help, Christine embarks on a frantic race to reverse her spell, searching for the only person who can help her, Seer Sean Sandina. However, the forces of evil are closing in, and Christine must decide how far she is willing to go to free herself from the curse. Number 1. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, directed by Scott Derrickson and released in 2005, tells the story of a priest, Richard Moore, accused of negligent homicide after the death of young Emily Rose, who requested his help to perform an exorcism. The plot focuses more on the trial of the priest and the lawyer Aaron Bruner, who seeks to prove her innocence, than on the demonic possession of the young woman. Although the subject matter is interesting at first, the movie becomes tedious as it goes on, and its length doesn't help it. The best scenes are those of the possession of Emily Rose, while the witnesses are recounting the facts. The performances of Jennifer Carpenter and Laura Linney stand out, who play Emily and Aaron, respectively. The dramatic part is well carried out and stands out for being based on a real case. The film is not a typical modern horror film, but mixes a well-constructed legal plot with touches of horror, which may be interesting for some viewers. The moments in which Emily Rose's scenes are shown are shocking and tense. The ending of the young woman is sad but well planned. In short, The Exorcism of Emily Rose is a film that falls short of being a masterpiece, but it is worth seeing, although it is not for all audiences due to the religious themes it addresses. The performances are good and the plot is original, based on a true case. Thank you very much for watching our selection of the 10 best horror movies on Williams Tops TV. We hope that you have enjoyed each of the movies we present to you, and that you have found a few new ones to add to your favorites list. If you liked our content, we ask you to like the video and subscribe to our channel to receive more movie recommendations and content from the top genre.
But where is the love?
Williams Tops TV subscribers, we remind you that we love you very much.